Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Hello, welcome to another episode of In the Trenches with Gang Green. I'm your host, Bubbs. Today is Wednesday, June 18th. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far today. This is episode 558 of the In the Trenches with Gang Green podcast. I thank you, as always, for joining me. For those tuning in on YouTube, make sure to please like and subscribe. Of course, appreciate all of those tuning in on all the different audio podcast platforms. And today we've got some more New York Jets news to discuss. I wanted to open up today's podcast reacting to an ESPN article that had high praise for the New York Jets draft pick, second round pick, 42nd overall, Mason Taylor, believing heavily in the rookie tight end. So wanted to react to that and also just give a general outlook on what Mason Taylor could look like here in 2025, his rookie season, what to expect out of the rookie tight end here coming up this season for the New York Jets. I also want to react to the New York Jets releasing kicker Anders Carlson, as the training camp battle will officially be between the thicker kicker Harrison Mevis, who we discussed yesterday, against the UDFA out of Ole Miss, Caden Davis. So we'll touch on that a little bit as well later on. As always, though, before we begin, we've got to tell you about our podcast partners, starting with our friends over at BetUS, America's favorite online sportsbook. If you want to get in on any of the sports betting action, check out BetUS and use my link in the description of this video to get a 125% sign-up bonus on your first three deposits up to $2,000. Also, our friends over at SeatGeek, if you want any of the hottest tickets in sports or entertainment, check out SeatGeek and use my promo code BUBSONSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. And of course, our friends over at Huga House, if you want any of their awesome selection of hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, you name it, check them out and use code BUBS for 15% off any purchase and get yourself some awesome Huga House swag. So here we go, episode 558. Thank you as always for tuning in here on a Wednesday program, June 18th. Another day closer here to the start of training camp. Today, I wanted to get into two topics. Wanted to start here, of course, with Mason Taylor. So the ESPN compiled an article of their favorite offseason moves, and they basically took opinions from executives, scouts, and even coaches on a variety of different offseason moves. And the Jets were actually linked in this article a couple times. The Jets got praised for their move of hiring Aaron Glenn and Justin Fields. But also what I wanted to dive into today was high praise for their rookie tight end in Mason Taylor. So I'll throw this up here on the screen for the YouTube audience. This was a veteran NFL offensive coach on the Jets selecting tight end Mason Taylor at number 42. He's got some language in here. He's effing awesome. He was my number 2 tight end behind Chicago's Colston Loveland. He's athletic. He's young, just 21 years old, and he's got upside in the passing game. That was a veteran NFL offensive coach on his opinion on Mason Taylor and his excitement for the rookie in this article, praising some of what ESPN felt, executives, coaches, everybody felt were some of the better moves of the offseason. And I'm excited to see what Mason Taylor can do this year, and specifically what he can do in this offense. I actually thought Mason Taylor had a pretty strong OTAs and mandatory minicamp. But when I really think, when you look at Mason Taylor, and what I kind of wanted to dive into today was just what you can expect from him this season in this offense, what kind of numbers, what kind of production you should see out of him. And I've mentioned this many, many times, and I want to read off a couple players for where Taylor could be. And I want to make this clear. I don't think Mason Taylor is going to have a Brock Bowers level rookie season. I don't think he's going to have a Sam Laporta level rookie season. He's not on that level yet. Is it possible he gets to that level? Maybe. That would be great. I don't know if he'll reach that, but he is going to be a good, consistent, reliable tight end because that's what he did in college. When you look at his college numbers, they weren't crazy impressive, eye-popping, 1,000 yard seasons, all this stuff, but they were consistent and they were very NFL pro-ready numbers, right? You look at last season, 55 receptions, 546 yards, 9.9 yards per reception, and 2 touchdowns. His career numbers at LSU, 129 receptions, 1,308 yards, 10.1 yards per reception, and 6 touchdowns. He's both first in LSU tight end history with both receptions and yards. His 1,308 yards and 129 receptions are first among all tight ends in LSU program history. And I think this number as well just shows you how reliable he was and how that translates well, hopefully, to the NFL game and for this New York Jets offense. He caught a pass in 37 of 38 career games played. Reliable. Finds the pockets in a defense. Gets open. When you throw him the ball, he's going to catch it. Simple. Nothing crazy, but he's simple. It's consistent. It's reliability. Those are things you want in a safety blanket type of tight end, especially for a quarterback in Justin Fields who loves to utilize the tight end. And when you look at, again, where Taylor, I think, can potentially stand this season, and I will also throw this out there, too. We talk a lot about Taylor's receiving ability, but another aspect of his game that I think a lot of people you want to put attention on and keep an eye on, always was underrated at LSU, and even now, and Glenn has actually talked about it, is his blocking, right? The receiving, the football IQ, the reliable hands, all that stuff, all good things. The blocking, though, is always kind of flown under the radar, and something that projects well, is going to project well in the NFL if you're able to block as a tight end and be able to do both things really well. Now, when you look at Taylor this season and just kind of an outlook on what to expect from him, as I mentioned, right, I don't think you're expecting Laporta level year Brock Bowers. That's also not what the Jets are going to ask him to do. You look at this offense, and we've mentioned this many times, Garrett Wilson's going to lead the way in receptions targets by a mile, right? That's expected. Then after that, though, you're looking at probably Breece Hall, Mason Taylor, and then your wide receiver 2 most likely being 4th in targets. That's where 4th in receptions as well. That's where I think you're looking in this Jets offense. So Taylor is going to be in that number 2, number 3 range. I think probably that number 3 range where it's Garrett, Breece, Mason Taylor, and in this moment right now, Josh Reynolds is the front runner who we talked about the other day as the emerging wide receiver number 2 for this team next to Garrett Wilson. But really, your wide receiver 2 is probably going to be your 4th most targeted pass catcher. Taylor is going to be in that range of 2 to most likely 3. And when you look at where that stands among other tight ends, I picked 3 out for kind of the expectation where Mason Taylor might stand and what I would consider a successful season for Mason Taylor. I'm going to go back to a former Jet here. The last consistent Jet tight end that the Jets had, right? The last really, really solid tight end. Dustin Keller, 2008, his rookie season, 16 games played, 48 receptions, 535 yards, 11.1 yards per reception, 3 touchdowns. He was 3rd on the team in receptions, 3rd on the team in targets, 3rd on the team in yards. That type of stat line plus those type of team rankings could very similar be what we see out of Mason Taylor. I think receptions potentially up, but yards, I think in that range. I'll throw another one out here. Pat Freiermuth's rookie season in 2021. 16 games played, 60 receptions, 79 targets, 497 yards, 8.3 yards per reception, 7 touchdowns. He was third in receptions, fourth in targets, third in yards. I think Taylor will have more than 497 yards, but 60 receptions to me, probably a little bit closer to his total and a little bit upper on the yards. I think he's probably closer to Keller's yards, but a little bit more closer to Freiermuth's receptions. And in this one, too, I think is another important one that I wanted to throw out in terms of what to expect from Mason Taylor. I look at Cole Kmet's first season with Justin Fields. Right, Fields drafted in 2021. Kmet's rookie year was 2020. But his first season with Fields, because we know Fields loves to use the tight ends, and I'll throw some of those numbers out here in a second. 17 games played, 60 receptions, 93 targets, 612 yards. Didn't score, but finished second on the team in receptions, second in targets, second in yards. I think you're looking in that over 500, 550 range, let's say, yards, 530, 540, maybe closer to 600, and that 60 reception range, which probably puts him about third on the team in yards, third on the team in receptions, third on the team in targets. And I think that's kind of how you should expect would be a very good rookie year for Mason Taylor, would be a very productive season, would be a year that I think most Jets fans expect out of him. And kind of the way the offense is shaping out, it feels like that could be the direction we're heading. Garrett, Breece, Taylor, your 2 and 3, and then your wide receiver 2 being that fourth most targeted guy. And Taylor's put in, hopefully here, a good situation where he's got an offensive coordinator in Tanner Engstrand coming from a team in Detroit where Sam Laporta was obviously a top tight end in the league. So understands the value of the tight end position, which is something that I don't think previous Jets coaches ever understood. And I think that especially was shown in the red zone. The lack of targets to tight ends, the lack of tight end touchdowns that the Jets have had over these last couple years are alarming, to say the least. You'd like to see Taylor get a lot more targets in the red zone this year, and you hope that Engstrand and Fields can do that. But just numbers on Fields here that I plucked out actually a couple months ago, wanted to bring these back to the table. Some numbers from Fields in his career. In 958 pass attempts from 2021 to 2023, Fields targeted tight ends on 24% of his passes, which ranked fourth most in the NFL during that time. Now, when you look at 2023 alone, Fields completed 75.9% of his passes when targeting tight ends, which ranked 13th out of 49 quarterbacks with at least 100 passing attempts. So inside the top 15. And Fields during 2023 alone produced a 112.3 passer rating when targeting tight ends, which was 7th best in football during the 2023 campaign. So those numbers there show not only how much Fields targets the tight ends, but also the success he had targeting the tight ends, right? The 75.9 completion percentage and the 112.3 passer rating are both successful, both numbers that show some of that success. And you have a coordinator coming from a team that had an elite tight end. You have a quarterback that knows how to use the tight ends. Mason Taylor here hopefully has put himself in a good spot. Still a lot of questions around Engstrand and Fields. But if those things work out, we get Engstrand is what we hope he can be, and Fields continues to look the tight end's way, I think the projection for Taylor is in that range, right? Third most targeted, the 60-ish receptions, over 500 yards, that type of season, which is, in my opinion, very productive for the rookie second-round pick. And excited to see what he can do. Very athletic, smart player, good hands, reliable. That's what you want in a tight end. So that's the stuff there on Mason Taylor. Wanted to sort of project a little bit into what to expect out of the rookie this season, because thought that was an interesting comment there from the anonymous NFL veteran offensive coach that clearly has high praise for him, high enough praise where he actually had him as his number 2 tight end on his entire board, which basically means he probably had a first-round grade on him. Jets were able to get him there at number 42. So certainly positive from that standpoint. Now, one other thing quickly here to wrap things up, because I know I discussed this yesterday, and we can only do so much kicker talk, but it was announced earlier today that the New York Jets released Anders Carlson. So that means it is the thicker kicker, Harrison Mevis versus Caden Davis. Will it be the summer of Mevis or the summer of Davis? Only time will tell when training camp begins, but that's the battle. The kicker battle. I'll be honest, I was surprised by this. Just quickly on the Carlson point. You knew that they were probably, and I mentioned this in yesterday's program, you knew that they were probably going to have to make a move. You weren't going to hold 3 kickers. One of those guys was probably going to get cut. And I said, if I had to guess, I thought it probably would have been Caden Davis. And all along, honestly, I thought Anders Carlson was going to win the job just because he's got previous experience. He kicked for the Jets last year. I get a different regime, but already there, right? Been in the season, been in the league now for 2 years. Davis, UDFA, Mevis, UDFA, who got cut, played in the UFL. Like, Carlson just felt like probably just felt like he would be better than both those guys. Clearly, the Jets didn't see that. It also felt like during minicamp and OTAs, Carlson had the upper hand, or I should say the upper leg. But again, the media wasn't there for all those practices, so clearly Davis outperformed Carlson enough where they're going with 2 real young guys who have yet to kick in the NFL. When you look at Carlson, his numbers with the Jets, 5 games in 2024, went 8 of 10, which is 80% on his field goals. Was 2 for 2 from 20 to 29, was 2 for 2 from 30 to 39, 3 for 5 from 40 to 49, and it hit his only 50-plus yarder. Now, we've talked a little about Caden Davis, but again, just to give you some more background on him, 6'1", 208 pounds, senior, 5 seasons in college football, 3 starting with Texas A&M, 2 with Ole Miss. He's got a cannon of a leg. When you look at his 2024 numbers, he went 24 of 29. That's 82.8%. His longest kick was 57 yards. He was tied for 4th in field goals made, and he was tied last year for the longest in SEC last season with the 57-yarder. He was a first-time All-SEC and a semifinalist for the Lou Groza Award. So Mevis and Davis, they've got cannons. They've got cannons legs. We mentioned Mevis yesterday, still holds the SEC record for the 61-yarder. Davis hit a 57 of his own. So both guys, young pieces, young players, young kickers. We'll see what happens. It's a Davis 21, Mevis 23. Who will it be? I will see. Only time will tell. And of course, you've got the punter battle as well between Austin McNamara and Kai Kroger. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. The New York Jets kicker situation. Anders Carlson is the odd man out. Now it's officially a 2-man competition. Summer of Mevis. Let me know what you think down below. Are you on the summer of Mevis train, or is it going to be the summer of Davis? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I think you've got to root for, in my opinion at least. Look, I want the guy that's whoever's going to make the most field goals and be the most accurate and help this team win football games is who's going to get it. But I think you got to have a little bit of a soft spot and have a little bit of a rooting spot for the thicker kicker. I mean, how can you not root for a guy with that nickname, right? So we'll see. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below on the Mason Taylor stuff, the NFL coach, anonymous NFL coach, praising the New York Jets move there as one of the better moves of the offseason, one of the better moves of the draft. Your expectations for Mason Taylor in year 1. And again, who do you think will win this kicker battle? Let me know everything down below on both of those topics. Appreciate you all. As always, stay tuned. A lot more content coming your way. Until next time, JETS. Jets, Jets, Jets.